Hi ho, folks, and welcome back to the adventures of Turwinkle, the Gnome Mage. Well, hi, Turwinkle.
Salutations.
Are you all set for tonight?
Affirmative.
Well, great, because tonight we're going to be talking with Vandiana Kingsley, part of the Nightfall Vanguard, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We've been looking forward to this all week, and as you can see, we are in Duskwood at Raven Hill. And according to Talk About Town, this is where Vandiana lives at the current moment. So we will find her and get started with this wonderful interview. Alrighty, folks, and we have found her, Mrs. Vandiana Kingsley, the messenger gun for hire ex-Defias contractor, nicknamed Vandy, of the Ghost Division of the Nightfall Vanguard. She's a level 79 Dalaran human magic hunter. We'll get back to that. Mature, experienced role player and loves walk-ups. Hello.
Hi.
It's certainly good to finally get the chance to sit down and talk with you about this wonderful character.
I've been waiting for it.
Well, excellent. And let us go back. I want to know about, it says here, level 79 Dalaran human, magic hunter. Now, what is that?
That plays into her story. A few years back in her history, she was in a fight against several thugs. She thought she could take them easily, but had her arm severely injured. After seeing this, she realized she needed more power. Now, to do this, she went through all her contacts, got all the warlocks she could, and they summoned a Doom Lord, a very, very powerful demon. She then proceeded to make a deal with him. For her soul, when she dies, he gave her enhanced sight, enhanced regeneration speed, and minor magic abilities.
Wow. Okay, well, hopefully she lives for a very long time and doesn't have to pay the final price for those abilities.
Yeah.
All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to take a look at Vandiana's MRP. So we'll be right back with that. And we are back, and we are now looking at Vandy's MRP. And it's actually really well written. And so if you get the chance, folks, when you get to talk with Vandy in the game, and you want to find out a little bit more description about her, what she looks like and whatnot, you just pull up her MRP and this is what you will find. Again, a mature, experienced role player, loves walk-ups, got eyes that are blue and gold, races Dalaran, 6'4", which is pretty tall for a female character. Now, weight, bone dry. What does that mean?
That means it's as if she hasn't eaten in a week or two. She's not very well fed, is what it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Bones are showing everywhere, that sort of thing.
Boy, and why is that? Is that...
It's part of her physique and also how she grew up. She grew up alone a lot, and so she never had much food. And her body just kind of adapted.
Alrighty. Now, as you see, folks, in here we have a great MRP, and what I mean is how it's written out here. And so, starting right off the bat, alignment, true neutral, or to chaotic neutral, which fits in perfectly with the Nightfall Vanguard. Is that kind of the reason why you joined them?
It is indeed part of the reason. Also, one of the leaders, Marogathor, I think is how you say his name. He was my leader in a previous guild, and we've been friends for a while.
All right, well, that's perfect. Currently, bland, emotionless face, unable to speak. So why can't you speak, sir?
Vandiana had a disaster in her past where her vocal cords were destroyed. She has a scar running along her throat to show that. And so I always keep that there so people don't have to read the entire thing to know she can't speak.
Oh, okay. And how does that make your RP?
It makes it much more difficult because I have to make sure that I have some way of communicating. A lot of the time it's hard, and I have to call in someone to do a mental link. With Vandiana's magic, I can do a minor magic or mental link, but it can only be one person at a time.
Alrighty, and we'll get more into that when we talk about your RP style and stuff later, because that's really interesting to take something where you have sort of a, well, in a way, a disability, and how you have kind of put a challenge to yourself in your RP style. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. So it says, with long hair, she stands with pride and dignity, even though it looks like she hasn't eaten anything in a week. She's really tall for a human female, standing at a height of 6'4". Her left eye is dark blue, while her right eye is an odd gold color. She may be bone dry, but she is not weak at all. She actually has a decent bit of muscle, even if her body doesn't show it. She has a scar running around her throat. This was caused, well, maybe she'll explain it to you. However, it does cause her to be mute, her vocal cords being long ago severed and irreplaceable. On her back is a tattoo of an angel, but on the right wing is black and twisted. See, now that's very descriptive, and folks, again, just by reading this, it gives you a much better picture of who Vandiana is. And sir, I gotta commend you on that. That's really, really well written.
Thank you. It's taken me a while to get it like this.
Well, that's a good question. How long did it take you?
For the whole MRP, it's probably taken me anywhere from 4 months to a year and a half. I can't quite remember.
Well, excellent. So as you go along, you just kind of constantly update it and tweak it a little here and there?
Mm-hmm. I always add to it. I always change it.
Well, wonderful. And so we go through here, and it looks like you have a whole bunch of different armor sets and RP wear. And so if she's dressed in those things, you can just look here and see the different armor sets and RP wear that you have. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. You also go into description about your mounts. It says she has 2 mounts she primarily uses. The first is Raymond, her infinite drake, onyx netherwing drake. Her second is Sagina, her crane, golden riding crane. Both are skilled and fast. Raymond is sentient and is capable of speaking. Her crane is smart, but of course not sentient. Wonderful. And then, of course, we have a couple of your pets out here today with you. And so go ahead and tell us about the 2 pets that you brought with you.
Well, Arachnus is a dog that was magically twisted. It has runes for killing mages and other magical users in particular. Can absorb magic cast at it. Mostly arcane magic is what it can do. Vandiana uses it mostly for her personal companion, playmate, and guardian. The other one is Zorund. It's an infinite whelpling who spends most of his time on Vandiana's shoulder. Zorund is also sentient and speaks aloud when he wants, though usually he can be a bit annoying when he speaks.
Well, wonderful. And, you know, Arcanus is a little creepy looking, sir. I'm just saying, I don't like the way he's looking at Turwinkle.
Don't worry, he won't attack unless Vandiana tells him to.
Okay. I don't know, sir, those teeth, they're kind of, and those eyes. Ooh. Okay. Okay, folks, so when we come back, we'll take a look at Vandy's biography. So we'll be right back with that. All right, folks, and we're back with Vandy, and now we're looking at her biography. Now, this is, again, really well written, and we'll have you kind of give us a synopsis of this. But as you see here on the bottom, it says, for a slightly more detailed description, whisper me if you have GHI for a copy of my history book. Now, in talking with you between the breaks here, you said you have a 14-page history book?
Yes, I do.
Wow. You could almost write a real book in real life and probably make some money on that, sir.
Not quite there, I think, but...
Well, and I've said it before, I think some of the creativity and some of the RP, if someone actually sat down and wrote it out, and it looks like that's what you're doing, and sent it off to a publisher, you would probably get a book deal.
Perhaps, if you write a long enough one.
Sure. You know, there are quite a few books on, like, Amazon where there don't have to be huge, 500-page novels. So I would suggest Again, just by reading this, it's so well written that you might look at that down the line. But let us get back to the topic at hand here. So we're looking at Vandy's biography a bit here. It says age 21, home is here in Raven Hill, and birthplace is Dalaran, and motto is do what you can to live. Now, how did you come up with that motto?
Well, when Vandiana was around 10, 15, somewhere around in that age range, her parents were killed, and she went a bit crazy and stormed off. She had to live on her own, and because of this, she went into the criminal business. She did a lot of smuggling jobs and some assassination jobs herself. And so she got that motto just from always saying, I have to do what I can.
Okay. Well, great. And so you've taken something from your own history and used it in the game as far as your motto then.
Indeed.
Wonderful. And so you kind of give us a little bit there. So go a little more into that.
Okay. Vandiana's parents were guardsmen in Dalaran. She was never very strong, so she couldn't take up the sword and shield like that her parents had. Instead, she learned from her father's friend, an archer master. She was good at an archer at a young age, but she was also very good with guns, so she took that up. She got into the guard corps there, but soon after, her parents were sent on a mission, and the Horde went and killed her parents. She went crazy and went down to Azeroth, or not Azeroth, the Eastern Kingdoms to find the Horde that killed her parents. Being unsuccessful, however, because she ran into a Naga camp and was captured. She was put into labor for years and a pit fighting ring there.
Oh, geez.
Eventually, during that time, no one knew where she was, and she disappeared for 5 years before two Draenei shaman found her cut in half on the ocean beach. They took her back to Exodar, and started reviving her. It took them a couple of years to revive her, but she was revived. She went back to Dalaran, but wasn't able to join the guard corps again. They said Vandiana was dead. So she just started going around trying to do whatever she can. She got a job delivering packages and letters, but she couldn't find who she was assigned to. So she went and got pets. A spirit jade owl who is now dead, unfortunately, and her dog, Arachnis. She kept working, but started going smuggling when that wasn't making enough money. So she did smuggling until she got contacted by Vanessa Van Cleef, before Vanessa went public.
Oh, okay.
Vanessa asked her to do several smuggling jobs, and she was not involved in the fight. She didn't join them, but she did contract for them, hence the title Ex-Defias Contractor.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, Vanessa gave her a job to kill some thugs that were messing around, so that was her first assassination mission. She went for a while until the thugs happened, and I've talked about this. She got attacked by the thugs and did the whole deal with the Doom Lord, Zagul.
Okay, right. Well,
As proof of their pact, it put a giant purple pentagram on her right eye. She uses her magic to hide it mostly, but she does show it sometimes. She spent some while just doing odd jobs. Eventually, she joined another group called the Hidden Watchers. They were helpful, but she eventually left them for her own reasons. She got a new body after dying yet again, and this one she lost her vocal cords, so she can't speak. And that brings us up to today, where she joined the Nightfall Vanguard and is just trying to do what she can.
well, wonderful. Again, that is a great and detailed history. And folks, if you want to know more, again, if you RP long enough with Vandy, and you get a chance to take a look at the history book, it's a wonderfully well written RP. And so kudos to that, sir. And folks, when we come back, we'll dig more into who Vandy is and how she came about. So we'll be right back with that. And we are back. And so one of the first questions we always ask is, how did you come up with your name? Did you get it out of a book, a movie, something you read?
I believe it came out of something I read or heard, but I can't quite remember. It was a long time ago. I keep debating in my head whether I heard it or I made it up. I'm still not sure.
Alrighty. And so Vandiana and again Kingsley, uh, did it take you a long time to come get that, or how did that come about?
Vandiana is a name I've always had in my mind that I've liked. Kingsley, I wasn't sure for a last name, so I just looked up random last names, and that seemed to fit.
Yeah, it's a really nice name. Have you used it in any other tunes?
I used Vandiana in a tune a long time ago, about 2 years ago on Moonguard, but that tune has long since been dead.
Oh, okay. Because I know for a lot of people, if they find a name they really like, they use it in pretty much every game they have. So they'll take it from them from game to game to game. So wonderful. So folks, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about how Vandiana got started, and we'll get back with that. All right, and we are back, folks. And so, how did you get Vandiana started? What was your process behind that?
Well, I started as another character, actually. I noticed a guild advertising it was a criminal guild. I decided I was interested, so I made Vandiana and her whole backstory with the crimes and everything. So I joined there. As things progressed, I thought adding the demons in would be interesting and whatnot, and so I added that in. Also, the mute came recently because I've always wanted to try to roleplay a disability and to show people who are new how to roleplay it correctly.
Oh, okay. And so, when you mean by roleplay it correctly, what do you mean?
You can't, for example, with me being mute, you can't always have pieces of paper and something to write with. It would take way too much space for any one person to carry. And also, if you're going based on things like medieval age technology, most people didn't know how to write, let alone read.
Sure. Right, and that would be quite a bit of big pots of ink and quills and, like you said, parchment to carry around to communicate constantly. So how have people received that RP?
A lot of people enjoy how I do it. I have met some that complain that I shouldn't be doing it at all, but I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very interesting and unique concept. Well, not having a disability, but the mute part, because, like you said, I think in a lot of cases where someone is that I've seen before mute, they've taken the route of writing things down, and using that RP in that regard. So, how long have you been playing Vandiana then?
Oh, when did I make her? I think it was a year and a half ago, though it may have been a little longer than that since I've made her.
Oh, okay. So not fairly new, but in WoW terms, I guess that is kind of new. And so wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we'll get into a little bit about Vandy's RP style. So we'll get back with that in this next part. All right, folks, and we are back. And so, Vandy, what style of RP do you consider yourself to use?
I'm a mature / experienced role player. What that means is I've had 3 years role playing. I do always have typos. Everyone has typos, but I tend to post longer emotes and more descriptive. Mature means I'm okay with hearing swearing, more adult themed things.
Okay, and so do you consider yourself a para RPer then?
I am not a para RPer. I don't write 4 paragraphs per emote. I tend to write maybe a paragraph per emote.
Okay, so I mean that's still quite a good amount of
It's enough
RPing, actually. Yeah.
it's enough detail for most, but not too much that they just ignore it.
Right. In fact, what I find for myself when I'm RPing with someone that like a para RPer or someone that does the longer RPs, what it does is it makes me work a little harder with my RP as well. Do you find that to be the case?
Yes, I do.
All right, excellent. And so you deal with more adult themed RP then as well.
I'll do any sort of RP. I'm just saying that I'm open to mature style.
Okay. And so you also like the walk ups, people to walk up and RP with you, is that correct?
Yes, I do. It's always fun to have people walk up.
Yeah, you tend to meet a variety of different types of RPers when you're more open to that type of interaction with the community.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, excellent. So, folks, when we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to talk to the player behind Vandy and find out a little bit more about him. So, we'll be right back with that. All righty, folks, and we are back. And so, let us learn a little bit about the player behind Vandiana. So, sir, what can you tell us about you? What do you like to do?
In my off hours, I spend a lot of time practicing programming and playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop games.
Oh, wonderful. And so we talked a little bit in the break here. You run a D&D club at your school, is that correct?
I run one of the games in the D&D club, yes.
Oh, great. And you started a new format of pen and paper called Numera?
Numenera.
Numenera. It's a new game out that your mother helped kickstart, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Great. And so what, if you had to rate the game, what would you give it?
Right now, I'd rate it for people who like dungeon crawling and killing monsters, I'd rate it maybe a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10. For role players, I rated an 8 or 9.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's more of a interactive with your party type role play than it is hack and slash. Is that correct?
Yes, in Numenera, the character's described pretty much by just a phrase. For example, I am a strong glaive. Glaive is a warrior class who has the power of magnetism. And all those things mean something. But that's how you can basically just describe the character.
Okay. Wow. So it sounds like a lot of fun. So you also like to program. What kind of things are you into programming?
Right now I'm still learning. If things go the way planned, I'll be working for the military and programming things for their drones and whatnot.
Oh, so are you looking to get in like the Air Force?
Yeah, that's the plan, trying to get into an ROTC scholarship.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we'd certainly be happy to have you serve, and that's a wonderful thing to do, and a great way to get started in programming and that sort of thing. Excellent. And so you are in, we talked a little bit about you're in a kind of a gaming family.
Yes, my mother and my brother are both active raiders on the Ilaria server. My father used to play World of Warcraft, but he stopped because of too much work. And we just in general play a lot of games together.
Oh, that's great. And a family that games together stays together.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
well, it certainly seems to help.
Do you like reading or anything?
Oh, I love to read. I love to read.
Okay, what are you reading now?
Right now I'm on the 6th book in a series. It's by Stephen Bruce. The first book is the Jereg, so I just called it the Jereg series. It's about a assassin named Vlad. He's human and lives in an elven world. They call them Dragarians.
Oh, okay. Sounds very good. And obviously you like it because you're on the 6th book. So that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
Make
great.
that join our group.
And really, again, the thing that we like to, why I like to get to know the people behind the screen, is again it breaks that stereotype of what an RPer is, and it shows that pretty much anyone can RP and have a good time doing so. And so, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk about how Vandy got started RPing in World of Warcraft and how that experience went. So we'll be right back with that. And we are back with Vandy. And so when you started, how did you, number one, get started with the role-playing aspect of World of Warcraft?
Well, I started with, in the very long time ago, Dungeons and Dragons. I liked it, but I didn't have enough time. I wasn't doing it enough to really satisfy, so I moved to Warcraft 3 roleplay. And then one of my friends there said he was roleplaying on WoW and liked it, so I came over here and started roleplaying. Each time I had to learn different things, but it all worked out well.
Sure. And what was the hardest thing for you to learn, you think, when you started RPing in WoW?
The hardest thing to learn? Well, first off, it took me a couple months to figure out the /me system.
Right. Right. That's that for me too was I had no idea how to get that thing to work properly all the time, and it took me a while too. Yeah.
The other problem that I really had was finding people to roleplay with. I didn't have any add-ons or anything, so people tended to shy away from me. Eventually, I had some friends. I found some people, and they roleplayed with me and liked it, and introduced me to things like my roleplay, which helped extremely have people come up and roleplay with me.
Oh, great. And so doing kind of when you started, getting to meet people and that sort of thing really got the ball rolling for you then.
Yeah, that's what it took.
Sometimes that's what it does take, you bet. So wonderful. So I guess when we come back, folks, what we'll do is we will talk about what advice Vandiana has for somebody that, say, is new to role-playing or would like to get into role-playing in World of Warcraft. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, folks, and we are back with Vandy. And so, Vandy, what advice would you give the new RPer out there, someone that's looking to get into role-playing on World of Warcraft? Or I guess what I should say, what advice would you have liked to receive when you first started?
First off, I would like to know to immediately get my roleplay add-on. It is extremely helpful and makes you look a lot better for the role-playing community. Second, I would have liked to know that you shouldn't start by role-playing disabilities. I tried doing a missing arm when I started, and it didn't work out well. Also, it would have been nice for people just to know that if you're a new role player, tell people if you try roleplay with them and ask for help and advice as you go.
Okay. You bet. It never hurts to say, hey, this is my first time role-playing, so bear with me, help me if I make a mistake. You mentioned previous that, until you got some friends to go along with you, it was kind of rough. So would you recommend going in with friends or finding a guild?
I would always recommend going in with friends. It's always better with friends. And I would say try and find a guild as fast as you can. Don't do one that has roleplay as a side thing, though. If you really want to roleplay, go for one that whisper the people who are advertising and ask them, hey, I'm a new role player. Can you help me? Is your guild okay with new role players? That sort of thing. And just try and get a guild that will help you.
Well, sure. And we talked about this earlier in between takes. There is no shortage of guilds out there that are looking for new people. If you're ungilded, you'll get 4 or 5 guild invites a day from different guilds. So take a look at what they're offering when they do invite you. And because a lot of times they'll send the invite and then they'll send a whisper describing what kind of guild they are. And so go with a guild that fits your RP style and kind of your theme that you want for your character. I think that's a good way to go as well. Alrighty, folks. Well, when we come back, we are going to allow Vandy to give us some final thoughts on her character. And so we look forward to that. So we'll be right back with that. All right, folks, and we are back. So, Vandy, is there anything that we haven't covered or something that you would like people to know about Vandiana?
Even though she has done criminal things and her demon pack, she's actually a very nice person. So if you're afraid of coming up to her that she'll like spite you or something, don't worry about it. She'll be very friendly to anyone who comes up to her, unless they threaten her.
Sure, and then, I mean, I don't see why someone would with that arcane dog. He looks very mean, sir.
Yeah, but I do have other pets that I usually have around, but...
Well, not to mention that gun looks pretty intimidating as well. I don't think anyone would mess with you. But I have to agree, Vandy has been just a wonderful, wonderful tune to RP with. And I've enjoyed it. And I think you folks out there would as well. You have a great sense of RP about you and a really strong, solid foundation of RP that I think you have used well. And again, it's really well written and really well done. So thank you so much for taking the time to let Turwinkle pester you with all his questions tonight.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
You bet, and it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed getting to know Vandy a little bit more and the wonderful, again, storyline that she has. And folks, I think you will too. And so, again, Vandiana Kingsley here of the Nightfall Vanguard. Wonderful RPer. So if you see her out there, again, she loves the walk-ups. And so just walk up and say hi. And you never know. You may find yourself in one of her story arcs and or part of some sort, or she'll be part of your storyline as well. So with that, we thank you again so much for your patience tonight. We really had a good time. And folks, we will see Turwinkle back in the hinterlands with some final thoughts on Vandiana Kingsley. Alrighty, folks, we made it safe and sound back to the hinterlands here. And so let us, Turwinkle, give a nice thank you to Vandiana for doing such a wonderful job tonight.
Thank you.
You bet. So we had a lot of fun talking with her tonight, didn't we?
Sure.
You bet. And so, folks, if you like this episode, click that like button. If you'd like to comment on this episode or on any of our previous episodes, please do so below. Let us know what you like and let us know what you didn't. And finally, if you'd like to subscribe, well, we would love to have you. So hit that subscription button tonight. Well, Turwinkle, an excellent job as always, sir. And Turwinkle, we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Turwinkle. Bye-bye.